Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. We're coming at you live on Facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts and streaming live on YouTube.com/Rogue Matter. Download this podcast immediately following the live stream on all major podcasting apps. Join the movement. Go Rogue, RogueMatter.com. I'm your host, Michael Dolce. As always, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Hassan Godwin. How you doing, sir?
I had a headache.
You have a headache?
Yeah.
Like right out of the gate, huh?
Yeah. It just happened. It just started. As soon as we started recording, I just got a headache.
my intro.
I will say your intro didn't help. It didn't help my headache. No.
No, I guess not. I guess not.
I guess that's just my problem. It's just the perils of podcasting. So let's just get on with it.
That is completely that's all on you. I got nothing for you at that point.
As it usually is, as it usually goes.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Fair enough.
So we got a great show tonight. We've got your favorite movie is coming out. Is it
going to be great? You
is
promise?
Great. I do. I absolutely promise, because your favorite movie is coming out later this year. I think it's going to be a Thanksgiving release, maybe sooner than that, maybe October, maybe a Halloween release. We got a new trailer for it.
Well, you mean Dune? You must be talking about Dune. I'm so excited about it. I really am. Like it's the happiest I've been in a long time that a movie like that's coming out. Right? You're talking about Dune, right?
Clearly Dune. Clearly not Venom. Let there be carnage.
Because I think Venom is actually literally depressing me. It's actually making me sad. So I'm very happy, for the sake of this podcast, that we're not going to be talking about Venom at all. Right? That's not on the schedule. I didn't read the schedule, but we're going to be talking about Dune. I'm really excited about it. Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah. But we're not going to talk about Venom, right?
So we will also not be talking about Jungle Cruise in your Rogue Rage, which is very exciting.
Not specifically Jungle Cruise, but the hysteria around it. We will elaborate on that.
Okay,
you know?
And
it'll be a pleasant conversation about Jungle Cruise, because we will have been able to talk about Dune as opposed to Venom.
What I'm excited for, though, is we are going to be talking about. We're going to be debuting a old segment that is brand new as well. Coming up, we're going to take the Black Widow. And what did you say to me off air before we in our production meeting, which I thought was great. Nobody takes the time to reflect back on the
on ancillary materials.
Right, the promotional material that gets you hyped up for a movie, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're taking our Trailer Truth or Trash segment, we're spinning it around. We're actually making it more than just a catchy title. We are going to look back at the last Black Widow trailer, and we're going to see, did the movie live up to the trailer? And we're going to try to do this the week after the movies come out, because I think it's a great way to review a film, which we did already review Black Widow.
Provided we've seen the movie.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I mean, if we hadn't seen the movie, then it'd be a waste of time.
Yeah,
it'd still be us going, I think he looks cool. And we don't want to do that. There's enough people doing that.
No. We're gonna, but again, it's a good way to kind of review the movie, but also kind of hold these people accountable. What kind of
yes, let's hold their feet.
What kind of crap did you give us in the trailer that we didn't get in the movie? Like, what did you set up? What was the overall vibe and context?
Do we have to hold them accountable? Do we have subpoena power? Can we send them the cinema court? I want to do cinema court. Send them the cinema court.
Cinema court. That's a new segment. Hassan, you just patent pending. Everyone out there, patent pending.
Wait a minute.
Trademark pending.
Everyone here is a witness.
That's it. We created it live tonight. I'm actually dead serious, and the funny thing is, I'm actually dead serious that we're going to.
I know you're dead serious.
Yeah, we are.
Exactly. I know the rabbit hole we just went down together.
I freaking love that. All right, but we start. Where's the fire? And the fire
partially inspired by you, and you said we're gonna hold them accountable. We're gonna hold their feet to the fire. So,
so I'll take my co-credit. Look, both of us came up with this. I'm not losing out on my my co-credit status. But we start with where's the fire? The hottest takes on pop culture today. And it's Black Widow again, but it's a little different. It's a little different than just talking about movies. This is a little bit of ancillary stuff. So apparently, there's a little.
You are a parent.
there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that is not as kosher, and I want to tell you, I think it's something that would be.
Oh, you're talking about the Black Widow stuff.
Black Widow lawsuit, yeah. Okay. So Scarlett Johansson unleashed a lawsuit against Disney, and the reason we're bringing this up is and I'll get to that.
I'm sorry to be a jerk.
Yeah.
Who's using the phrase unleashed? Is that you, or is it?
No, I'm using that. Yes, she unleashed a lawsuit.
Okay, she unleashed a lawsuit. Okay.
Yes. I'm using the term unleashed, and the reason I'll tell you why I'm using that term.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it
because it felt like it came out of nowhere, right? It wasn't something where, I mean, there was like months of pre-promotion for this thing. It got announced that it was going to be on both Disney, but that announcement was kind of like 2 months, prior to the movie coming out, so it wasn't as if it was a total shocker. It was just kind of like
it does feel strategic. It does feel like there was a strategic wait and see kind of situation,
right?
Happening. And then all of a sudden, everybody who we thought were friends are not friends anymore.
Yes.
because the money came in and nobody liked what they saw, and then enemies started to sprout up from the scenery. So
yeah,
and there's blame, there's names, there's all kinds of
and
all kind of wonderful stuff.
What's funny about this is that the lawsuit states that Marvel guaranteed an exclusive theatrical release and that her salary was in part tied to the film's box office performance. It also alleges malicious behavior on Disney's part in regards to her deal with Marvel. Disney intentionally induced Marvel's breach of contract without justification in order to prevent Miss Johansson from realizing the full benefit of her bargain with Marvel. So that's what the lawsuit. Disney then came right back, which was there's no merit. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. So they were dropping a little COVID on them. Disney has fully complied with her contract, and furthermore, the release on Disney Plus with Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. So they're not only are they name dropping, or firing back, I should say, on this unleashment, but right. they're like number dropping too. They're like, by the way, she made $20 million. She's being greedy.
I mean, that's BS. First of all, you don't even divulge that. That's not your place to divulge it, but that's fine. The situation is, if you sign a contract and you say, we'll give you X if X makes X amount of money, right? And then you do whatever you can to make sure that product doesn't make its maximum potential, doesn't reach its maximum potential. You could be liable in a lawsuit. It could be breach of contract. Now,
right. But wouldn't the Premier Access, or unless Disney is alleging that Premier Access is something totally separate, but wouldn't that be on top of like what they're claiming?
You would probably believe that. Not you, but I mean in general, right. it would be believable for that. But most contracts are so specific, so specified, so that those are your legal loopholes, right? So it says like, Michael Dolce will make X amount of money, say that, Secrets of the Sire come out as, a movie in perpetuity, blah, 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 blah. But what it will happen is it will specifically say released in cinemas or released in a cinematic format, right? And then they release it on television. So now it blows up and becomes a major blockbuster, but they only owe you the bare minimum because the contract you signed specified cinematic release. So like I'm saying, it would seem like she is entitled to all these other, these other royalties and revenue from all these other ancillary outlets that you would maybe release the stuff in. But most likely her contract does not stipulate that. Most likely, she was going to get something like $50 million, or supposedly she reported losses in the amount of $50 million or close to it.
Yeah.
Most likely, it was a deal to either take her money up front or take her money after the fact, and she would be exempt from making the monies in ancillary markets such as toys and paraphernalia or whatever, but she would get her money specifically from the revenue earned from the film on release, the success of the film.
Yeah.
And if they did everything they could which is, I guess, is what she's alleging, to kind of, hamper that movie's ability to make money. Then technically, she's accusing them of
right. So
of sabotaging the deal that they had made together.
Yeah, and I get it. I think it's all kind of crazy about all this, just because this would never have happened outside of a pandemic. Like, there would never have been a question about this, nor would it have been a gray area that Disney is alleging, because they never would have done it, right? They never would have made a bold move like this. Now, whether or not,
well, it got delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed, So,
yeah.
I mean, there's so many things. There's so many balls in the air, on exactly who's to blame, what's the fault, what's the problem, what exactly happened. It's kind of like Solo, Star Wars story, where
yes.
It's so vague as to there's so many contributing factors to why that movie didn't make as much money as every other Star Wars film.
Yep.
That we still, to this day, with all the analytics and and forensic accounting that people have had the opportunity to do in the last 2 or 3 years, we still don't exactly know what the cause of that movie's failure is, because a lot of people like the film.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of contributing factors to why Black Widow is quote unquote a failure. It is not a failure. It made its money. It did really well in the pandemic market.
Yeah.
But it didn't do as expected, and all the deals that were signed pre-pandemic.
Yep.
So it's difficult for Disney to live up to obligations when they're hit so hard. But also, would you expect Scarlett Johansson or any movie star to be like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I understand the hardship you're going through, so please."
Well, and that's what it comes down to, right? That's what it comes down to.
The money that's owed,
when all is said and done, because on the surface you'd sit there and they number dropped specifically to paint her as the greedy person here. If she doesn't do the lawsuit, though, there's precedents that are happening right now, and I think that's, when we get into these larger conversations, not just about like movies, but maybe politics and society, what people tend to be overlooking is they're getting caught in the moment, right? What Scarlett Johansson's probably doing, or at least what I would hope that she's doing, or what her lawyers are doing, is they're worried and they're concerned about precedent. The precedent of, at any point, the studio can then say, "Oh, well, there was an earthquake in China, and so we're going to release this, in a different way that now bypasses your contract." So what they're doing, it's not necessarily about the money, though it is. It's more about, if this does not happen, if this happens once, then it can happen again. And that's what I think. It's not giving a movie studio or whatever outlet license to screw you. License to come up with like a blatant loophole that they can implement in times. If they decide, look, this movie's made us tons of money and we don't want to give any of it away. That's also a contributing factor to a lot of it. It's like, I know I signed a deal. I know I signed a contract. And we made a lot of money. This thing was an absolute success. But you know what? I like my pool better. I like my yacht. I don't want to give you any of this money. Right.
And because I'm a mastermind and I'm taking advantage of circumstances, and because you didn't sue or so and so didn't sue, or
right,
no one said anything, I have I have cause. I have
exactly.
Exactly an excuse to be able to do this to you. So yeah, I mean, also, remember the Goodfellas, right? F you, pay me. I don't care about what your circumstances are. F you, pay me.
Well,
we signed a deal.
Yeah,
we signed a deal, and I was there. I showed up to the movie. I did the movie.
Right.
I did the promotional stuff. I got all the. I don't care what you've already paid me. I care about what you owe me.
Yep.
Just because you paid me something doesn't mean I am not entitled to what we agreed on.
Yep.
So F you, like, you're going to release that. Release all of it. I'll release my bank account and show you that I'm a billionaire. And that still doesn't stop me from wanting the money that you owed me. You know why I'm a billionaire? Because I get my money. So
that's right. That's,
the
richest people I've ever worked with tend to be the tightest when it comes to money. They're very rich. They didn't get to be where they at, where they're at.
That's
not
exactly why they're
money.
rich. Now, the thing is also, they're not going to win. Disney's not going to win. Disney's going to figure it out. And I'm not talking about they're not going to win the lawsuit. They're not going to win in the court of public opinion because no matter how much money they paid Scarlett Johansson, no matter how rich she is, she's not a mega corporation. And the people are not on the side of giant mega corporations, especially when they're trying to screw another.
Yeah.
I tend to smaller entity over.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that.
She's got a face and a personality and movies.
Here's the thing, though.
Disney is this amorphous, giant glob that just sucks money out of everything, and that's exactly what they'll be. If she has a good lawyer, that's exactly what she'll be able to paint.
But this is why they won't win it, because she's also got Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige's got her back.
Kevin Feige's not going to do. I wouldn't count on that.
Well,
I wouldn't count on that. Because he knows what side of the bread his butter's on. Also,
but let me for the audience.
I already know what you're going to say. I know he's spoken out, but I think that's as far as he's going to go.
Let me elaborate here. Kevin Feige is also reportedly angry and embarrassed by the way Disney is choosing to handle the situation. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. He is basically pissed behind the scenes, and that is the rumor. And he was pissed at the. He lobbied against the day and date hybrid release for Black Widow. He was not keen on wanting to upset Scarlett Johansson, with who he has been working with since 2010's Iron Man 2. When the film began to disappoint with its middling box office receipts, Feige wanted Disney to make things right for the star. Now, again, it says middling box office receipts, but I think we all got to look at this.
But I mean, what's the key words of the sentence you just read? Right? He's behind the scenes.
Yes.
He's reportedly annoyed. Rumor has it. It's not. He hasn't come out. This
is what I will say, though. Disney cannot afford to piss off this guy.
No, you're not looking at it correctly. Of course, that it would be bad for them, but they also can't afford to capitulate or to look like they've backed down on.
I know, but I disagree for the same reason you just said, though. You were talking about how in the court of public opinion, they're not going to win, and I don't think. I think that matters right now. I think that's very in our heightened society. I think that matters.
I didn't say it wasn't going to work. I'm just saying, we cannot count on Kevin Feige because he's got his own empire to look at. He's got his own ambitions and he's got his own empire to look at. That's why most of what his reaction has been is speculatory or rumor has it. Or
what I would say,
it's behind the scenes stuff. I mean, if something happened to you, like if you got arrested for something like that, and they asked me for a statement, it's like, I'm very concerned and annoyed that the police treated Michael like this. But how much would that be worth to you, ensconced in a jail cell waiting for your trial or whatever? It's not worth much. It's lending support, but it's not. It's lending solidarity.
Yes,
it's signaling support.
Yes.
It's not giving support.
Yes. No, I agree with that in that sense, but I would sit there and tell you, using sports as not an analogy, and not a metaphor, because it more of a side-by-side comparison, right? What we're seeing now, it used to be that the owners of the team had all the power, and in a lot of these sports now, NBA, NFL, MLB's always had a strong union, so they've always actually had more power than the ownership. What we're seeing in that is that the individual star now has the power, whereas in the past, the corporation, the ownership, the team would have kind of held all the cards here. And that's thanks to social media. In a way, that's a great thing, right? Social media has brought us a lot of harm, but in many ways, you and I've had conversations about this. It's also been the mechanism for change, and it's been the mechanism to undo and alter previous, hierarchies. And so I think that if the public finds out that Kevin Feige is upset, if that somehow is the first stepping stone to a divorce of Kevin Feige with Marvel, and you'd sit there and say, well, why would Kevin Feige want to leave Marvel? Because if he leaves Marvel, he's the next James Gunn, right? Who's hiring him immediately after? Who's immediately hiring him?
Yeah, I get it.
Or offering to.
Why would you want to give up your position with Marvel because of one of your many, many, many actors?
No.
Having a dispute.
It's not that he's going to give it up. I'm saying if this is the first crack in the armor we might be going back and saying, oh, if 5 years from now, or let's not even go 5 years. I did 5 years on purpose because that was Avengers Endgame. Let's say a year from now, all of a sudden Kevin Feige, we hear grumblings, he's not happy, and then 6 months after that he leaves Marvel. This will be the first thing we look back on and go, oh, maybe those behind the scenes weren't just weren't just showing support. Maybe there was an actual, something's going on that.
Yeah, I get you, but I mean that's not how you entered into this discussion. You said that it was probably going to, it's probably going to go her way because of support from Kevin Feige. And my only point is he hasn't genuinely supported her yet. It's rumored he's annoyed. He hasn't given her his support yet. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's happy there, that he shouldn't leave. Or it is. All I'm saying is that he has.
Yes, I mean, look, commenting publicly is not necessarily something.
He didn't even technically comment publicly. He is.
No, I know he hasn't. Yeah, that would be showing support, correct?
Right.
Like, that would be.
Right. Yeah.
That would be legit.
So that's what I'm saying. That would be a break. That would be a clean break. Now, as to other things, it could be argued. Like, would you do that? Would you do that for this particular situation? If a person got 20 million instead of 70 million, right? And she's suing the company for 50 million, right? And you're upset that they screwed her over because of this or that or whatever. Are you going to give up your extremely beyond lucrative position and the empire that you have built, you've labored to put together on the merits of that? It would probably have to be a lot more than that to get them to break.
Right.
Now, there could be many things behind the scenes. There could be tensions behind the scenes already, and this is a tipping point. But we don't, like I said, we don't know, so speculation is bad. So basically, all I'm saying is he has technically not given support yet. He is rumored to be very annoyed about it. And so me personally, I don't know how much we can factor his discontent into any of this.
Do you know what is not speculation? Venom. Let there be carnage. It is as good a trailer as I've seen. They released a second one. Very exciting.
I thought we were going to talk about Dune. It's very disappointing.
No. Look, I know you're a huge fan of the first movie. I know you and I have disagreements about this, where you obviously you think it was great. It lived up to everything.
Yes.
No, but in all seriousness, I loved the first movie. Why did I love the first movie?
Yeah, I know you
did.
For
all the reasons you didn't like the first movie, because you felt it was actually a 90s film. And I agree with you.
That is not the extent of why
I tried to summarize it into one sentence.
Yeah, I know, and you always do that wrong. And I really wish you wouldn't.
What were you not happy with in the first movie?
I just didn't think it was very good. And I didn't think it was a great representation of Venom. It's not the Venom story. Venom eventually became that, right? To an extent. Venom is a villain, right. he's a sympathetic villain. He's more of a sympathetic villain or an anti-hero at this point.
Yes.
Because now we have Carnage to make Venom to Carnage softens the aura of Venom. Right. So that's fine. But I just personally just didn't think it was a great movie. I didn't think the special effects were that great. I didn't think it just didn't look good to me.
Yeah.
And I watched the movie. I've seen it. I've seen the first one. So it's not like I saw a trailer and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to watch this crap. It's crap. Forget it. I watched it and it didn't do a thing for me.
What I liked about the movie was...
You asked, so I answered.
No, I know. What I liked about the first movie was it actually did feel like a 90s movie. It did feel like a throwback. It did feel...
And 90s comic book movies aren't that good. They're a lot of them are very bad.
Yeah, I know.
It's a mixed bag. Let's just say it's a very mixed bag.
The reason I like it is because in this day and age now we are getting... Look, and this is going to sound kind of silly, right? We're getting just solid, legitimate attempts at both realizing the source material and executing a really good movie at the same time. We're getting what we didn't get necessarily in abundance in the 90s. This particular film fits in that. I mean, this feels like it would have come out late 90s, early 2000s. It feels like it would have been in line with Catwoman, Elektra, you name it, right? It would have been.
Yeah, and in more ways than one.
Yeah,
in ways in standards of quality, also in story, in come on, never mind. I'm not going to argue with you. If you like the movie, right, that's your prerogative. Right, of course.
But that's the thing. So I liked it. I liked it because it just felt different. Ironically enough, and it was fun. It was funny. I get a little annoyed because. The costume making him do things. Now, obviously, it's a little different than Sire. Thank goodness. I got to get Sire up on screen is essentially what this is on me for not realizing that yet, but that's okay. The second trailer just debuted.
I'm sure this movie is a wake-up call for you.
It feels, look, this film feels, from the trailer, and we will do a trailer truth or trash of it after the film comes out and we watch it. It feels as if they are taking all the stuff they did in the first movie. They're not messing with the recipe. And in this particular case, that's a good thing. And Woody Harrelson just looks crazy. He just looks deranged. He looks like the part of Cletus Cassidy. I think there is rumors and stories going about that it will connect with the MCU. I think Kevin Feige said, there's a potential that Venom could connect with the MCU, and with the multiverse strategy that they're employing, they're opening the door that it could. And I'm okay with it. I think that's kind of cool. I think all of this stuff is just cool. It's okay to go to a movie where the expectations are not high in terms of you're not getting, you're not getting Casablanca. You're not getting Citizen Kane. You're not getting any of these films that have come before that is going to win an Oscar. You're just getting a bunch of aliens that are kind of funny, kind of campy, duking it out. You get Tom Hardy being Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy and Benicio del Toro are like the two actors where you can sit there and say they are just themselves every single time because they don't actually articulate or say lines that you can actually understand. A lot of times they tend to mumble a lot, which is baffling to me as an actor, but for some reason it just works. It just works with their whole persona. And it's good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good with this. I'm excited for this movie to come out because I think it's just going to be one of those things. I've worked all day. I'm gonna flip it on. I'm gonna flip it on my my streaming channel or whatever I'm gonna do, or I'll go to the theaters.
And you're not gonna go to the theater and see it?
No, I will. I mean, because we'll have to review it. I'll go to a theater and I will just zone out for like 2 hours of just mayhem.
Well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy you're happy.
Yes. So
good for you.
I don't really even have anything else to discuss.
You've earned it. Good for you.
I don't even have anything else to discuss with it.
I know there's nothing to discuss because we haven't seen it and I hate it. So it does, and I didn't like the trailer.
Right.
So I don't know what to discuss.
It did introduce a new villain, which is called Shriek, which I do remember from Ravencroft, from reading my Spectacular Spider-Man. So we'll have more on the movie as it comes out. I just wanted to react to it. I'm just super excited for the film. What do you guys think? Are you super excited?
Really excited about Dune.
For Venom. Are you excited for this lawsuit that's happening with ScarJo?
Looking forward to Dune. Like, who's excited about a lawsuit? You're like, I can't wait to find out how this turns out.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm definitely
excited. Okay.
We can definitely.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, we're going to do Trailer Truth or Trash Black Widow. It's an experiment. Anything could go wrong. Hopefully it's the greatest thing you've ever seen when we come back. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture. All right. Hassan, I'm very excited for this segment. I don't know how long it's going to go. I don't know how good it's going to be. I really don't. I have no idea. But it is a reboot. See what I did there? Of our famous Trailer to the Trash segment. And I think it's actually a more genuine version of this. We said this in the opening. We're going to take this movie now. We've seen Black Widow. We're going to watch the very last trailer. I think the last trailer that Marvel released, which, by the way, sidebar for a second. I went on their YouTube page, Marvel Studios YouTube page. Guess who is the front of, like, the front video of their YouTube page?
Couldn't guess.
Ryan Penagos.
Nice. Very nice.
So for all the audience out there, Hassan and I actually met when we worked at Wizard Magazine. Wizard Magazine, for anyone, what do you think, over 30 still remembers Wizard Magazine? I think that's probably the age gap, because, I mean, it shut down about 10 years ago, so I'm going to sit there and say if you're over 30 and you were into comics, you knew what Wizard Magazine was, the guide to comics.
Yeah, about 13 years
and Hassan worked for Wizard. I worked for Wizard. I was the website editor. Ryan Penagos was the price guide editor. And out of the two people, like, most likely to go, or the three people I should actually say, because you were in the accounting office too. I mean, you weren't even in the like, you and I were upstairs. Ryan was downstairs in editorial. I would sit there and say the likelihood of people coming out to eventually go on to do video podcasts and videos I would not have staked Ryan. He looks fantastic though. Like, he looks the part. Like, he's got this nice mustache. It's real grown. He's got the dark rim glasses. Like, he fits the part. Like, are
you saying he's hot?
Oh yeah,
he's hot.
Oh yeah, no, he's like Hansel. He's what is it? Hansel. He's so hot. No, he looks.
You sound like Goldmember. He's tight like a tiger.
No, he's fantastic. Like, he is
something one
absolutely...
bro says about another bro.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. Like, it's a fantastic thing. Like, he's got like 1 million Twitter followers now. He's basically the video face for Marvel online, which,
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Out of everyone, out of Wizard, I wouldn't have thought.
Brady looks, like I'm sure he looks good, but you're making a.
Tom Brady's a handsome man. Ryan Penagos looks like he should host the Marvel videos section. Is what I'm saying. Like, he just looks the part.
It's always that last sentence. All right, man. So please continue.
So anyway, we're gonna take the last trailer from Black Widow. We're gonna go through it. We're gonna do a little Mr. Science Theater. It's only 2 minutes. For our listening audience out there, we'll try to elaborate what's going on as well too. I'll try to do a little commentating so that you understand what's happening in the. Although you'll hear the sound from it as well too. And then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about plot. We're going to talk about characters. And we're going to talk about overall. Film?
I'm sure the people understand how to digest like a reaction video, which is what we're about to do. Just don't over elaborate.
No. We are so much deeper than a reaction video.
It. Just roll the tape.
All right. This is Black Widow. Trailer truth or trash. It's very exciting, like very exciting. So
yes, you're excited. You've been excited this whole episode. I'm glad you're excited.
All right.
You don't know everything about me.
It's just, it's about the train system, right? I see it's about the European train system.
Yes.
Okay.
Before I got this.
No. All right. Now there's heroes. So,
yes.
Okay. It's a hero movie.
So it's pointing back to her time with Avengers Endgame. It's basically giving everybody, when it came out in April, like a recap of,
Yes. Actually showing her fall from a cliff to her death.
So it's like, if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame by now, oops, you've had 2 years.
Please come see this movie.
Go back to where it all started.
So it flashes back to her as a kid. It has her... there's the scene where she's meeting her sister. So you find out she has a sister. Is it real? Is it not real?
My girls are the toughest girls in the
world. I'm going to come back to that scene with David Harbour.
Dad, right?
Basically, that's his dad. That's her dad. We're seeing her dad in the trailer.
Like a family, it's just like a family reunion movie.
It is. So this must be her family. And she says, we were just filling roles and assignments. So at the time...
The room full of people with guns in it.
Yeah.
That's at your family house. That's
everything.
Families break each other's kitchen, too.
Yeah. Well, she borrowed her sweater, Don't do that.
And there's Taskmaster, too. Flashing through. I like Taskmaster in here, too. I'm glad they both have superpowers, because their car just got blown up in the trailer. But somehow she just I guess she's out of flying out of a helicopter now.
It blew her into orbit.
Yes.
So now she's falling. Car blew up, and now she's falling from orbit. No,
yes.
I'm done running from my past.
Now she's going through windows. She's very active. She's very
Taskmaster's
athletic.
following her down. All this stuff is happening. It's very, very exciting.
Theoretically, it's very easy to fight while you're in free fall. Now, I've heard that. I've heard a lot of skydivers claim that that's the best place to do Krav Maga.
You think so?
Yeah, I've heard it. You know, it's an unknown fact.
Really?
Yeah.
I would say very unknown, right? I think.
Yeah, it's almost exclusively unknown. Okay, so
we're back.
We just watched that trailer, right?
Well, let me ask you a question. You a question.
Sure.
What was your initial reaction to the trailer way back in the day?
My first reaction to the trailer, are you asking when I thought about the idea of a Black Widow movie or just the trailer in it itself?
The trailer in itself and what your expectations for the movie were going to be based on that.
I don't know. See, this is the thing. This is where we always get into trouble because, like, you'll ask me that question and I'll be like, and you'll think I'm trying to be difficult.
No.
But I'm not. I really looked at it and like, I guess we're going back into her past, like an origin story. It's just like, you know, Wolverine origins or where, it's how the guy's adamantium and we just destroyed a helicopter. This is awesome. You know, so it's
I think you should do that the entire time.
That's the voice? No, I can't do that voice continuously because I would hurt my throat. No. I think most people I know would kill me inside a week. Anyway, bottom line, I think it's. Did you want me to answer the question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I think it's I thought it was like, okay, it's an origin story. We're getting it. It's gonna happen. It's way overdue. That's what I thought. And there wasn't a lot revealed in that first trailer. I don't even think Crimson Dynamo or whatever his name was. Right. I don't even think he was in that first trailer. David Harbour was in the first trailer. So, you know, and then I understood, I knew some stuff. That's the problem with this stuff. It's never like you come across it by accident. Yeah. You're watching TV one day and there's a trailer and you're like, oh my God, there's a Black Widow movie. Like,
right.
You know about it like months and months in advance and you finally get a first look at it. So, like, we already knew that Florence Pugh was going to take up the Black Widow role within the Avengers, theoretically, whatever the new iteration of the Avengers is going to be without Captain America and Iron Man, and theoretically without Thor. Although Chris Hemsworth is like, I'm never leaving, so you know we might have Thor for quite a while.
Yeah.
So it just struck me as, okay, this is an origin film. This looks good. I'll go see it. That's literally as deep as the inner monologue was.
Yeah. So in terms of plot, though, right? They laid out a bunch of things in the trailer, right? They laid out that, you know, she has a family. It seemed to be biological. I do point out that David Harbour scene where he's like, "My girls," you know. So it really strongly suggests that he's the biological father and that Rachel Weisz is the mother. It does raise that there's some shenanigans going on because then Florence Pugh kind of says, you know, I thought it was real.
There's some shenanigans going on.
It was real to me, you know, whatever the case is. Doesn't really talk too much about the Red Room, kind of shows the Black Widows. And in that way, I actually think the trailer lives up to the film lives up to the trailer because that's exactly what the movie ended up being, right? It was less about the Red Room. Obviously, that played a part in it, and more about this family dynamic. So, in terms of like the plot, the trailer gave you exactly what the plot was going to be. Now, Taskmaster is the one side note, where is the one mystery, the one mystery box of, you know, what is it going to be? What's the role that Taskmaster is going to play? And obviously, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet. Shame on you for not supporting Scarlett Johansson in the theaters at this point. But it laid out a mystery for Taskmaster, and what ended up happening in the film, where it turns out directly connected to the Red Room, made total sense. Now, you see that in the trailer, but you don't know who that bad guy is in the trailer. You don't know who, what's it, Winstone, right? Is that his name?
Ray Winstone, yeah.
Yeah. You don't know what his role is. You barely even know he's even there.
But you figure he's the bad guy because he's Ray Winstone.
Yeah.
So even in the Indiana Jones movie, he was a good guy, though he was the bad guy, even though he was a good guy. You know, so I mean, it's Ray Winstone.
What I liked about the trailer, though, was that it made it seem as if Taskmaster was legitimately working for Ray Winstone's character, and then in the film you kind of learn, oh well, yeah, she first of all is directly connected to Ray Winstone, but
don't spoil it.
I did.
All right, yeah, I know.
It's okay.
I know. It's too late.
She is connected to Ray Winstone, but not in a willing sense, and so I thought that was.
Yeah, but I mean, the trailer wouldn't have. We wouldn't have gotten that for the trailer. I mean, look, we knew that Taskmaster was in the film. We knew that something was going to happen. We didn't exactly know when this was taking place from the trailer, right?
Right.
She does speak about it. They do show sequences from Civil War, so you figure it's after that. It's sometime after Civil War, right? And we know it has to be before Endgame, because obviously, right?
Right.
So you figure, okay, she's going to go back to Russia, be with the family, and, catch up with them while she's in hiding or something like that. That's the impression you get. And in the process of it, maybe you could argue she gets, she starts having flashbacks about, her time there in Russia. You don't necessarily know. It could have just been a whole movie full of them eating dinner and flashing back on experiences that they've had, while working during the Cold War, working for the Soviet Union. So, and then theoretically, Taskmaster comes calling because he wants to, he in theory wants to end everybody.
It's basically right.
Well, it looks like a guy, Like, it's not even an assumption. It just looks like a guy.
No, not even an assumption, but also just based on the comics too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's, it's not quite how the movie is, but that's the impression I got from watching that trailer. It's like, all right, obviously the dinner with all of them reunited after all this time is the centerpiece. It's the centerpiece of the trailer, theoretically the centerpiece of the film. Then all the other branches, stem from there, where you're gonna, from the 3 acts. So somewhere in Act 2, they're all gonna get back together again, and then they're gonna move together towards Act 3. So that's what the trailer showed. It's not exactly like that, but it wasn't so off from that it was disappointing or upsetting. It didn't cause me to, to have unrealistic expectations of the film. So I think that was a success.
I agree with that.
And all the action in the trailer is in the film.
Yeah,
which is also good because in the last 20 years, it's a recent trend to put a lot of stuff in the trailer that is nowhere to be seen in the film. And there have been many times I've actually gone to the film just to see that scene, and it has been gone. And it has happened so often that I'm surprised when I actually see a scene that was in the trailer in a film. In one of those action pieces.
Here's the funny part too, and I forgot to bring it up during the Let There Be Carnage trailer. I actually felt like the Let There Be Carnage trailer gave away too much, right? You learn how Cletus Cassidy becomes Carnage in the trailer. Maybe that's not huge information. Maybe there's going to be more. Whereas in this trailer, none of the, aces in the hole, plot points, plot twists are revealed. Everything is laid out for you to go down one path, and whether or not you believe that is the path that's going to go, it does give you an adequate, reveal in the theater.
Yeah, it's decent enough. It's close enough, a facsimile of what they suggest that the film is about, so that you're not disappointed from it.
So, trailer truth or trailer trash? Did Black Widow live up to the trailer?
I would say truth.
I would go truth as well.
Yeah.
And we'll do this again next week. See, we had to prime this thing because next week we got Suicide Squad. And I think we should do a Suicide Squad trilogy.
Let's do The Force Awakens to see if that lived up to it.
Oh, we could definitely do that.
Let's do Last Jedi.
Yeah. You know what? Here's the funny part, right? I think Force Awakens and Last Jedi are so polarized at this point. Rise of Skywalker would be an easy one to do. And we could definitely do that. Yeah. All right. I think we could definitely
all deserve the same scrutiny.
We can definitely do one of those as well down the line. I think first attempt, not bad. I think it was all successful. We didn't burn the house down. When we come back, we're going to do Hassan Godwin's Rogue Rage. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture. We do this every week, or mostly every week.
No, we don't.
Mostly. We take whatever is on Hassan's mind, good or bad, that's happening in pop culture. This is Hassan Godwin's Rogue Rage. Lay it on me, my man.
I think movies should be allowed to die.
What does that mean? Now, hang on. All right, now hang on.
Done.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you because we have this, pre-production thing, and you sent me that, and all I'm asking for is the title, and the tagline, and an image to go along with it, so we can, when we do this on the YouTube and on the Facebook, we have something to go with it. I was very curious with the title, like, why don't we just let movies die? What that was, and the first thing that came to mind was like Crystal Skull for some reason. I don't know why. That was the first image that came to mind. I thought it was like maybe Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't know, some sort of Indiana Jones type. I don't know why.
Why don't we just let movies die, become as Raiders of the Lost Ark or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
I have no idea.
You're all right. See, this is why you shouldn't be in charge of that. Anyway,
it was like ink blot test.
Yes, and you failed the Rorschach test.
What comes to mind? That's what came to mind. All right, but it's Jungle Cruise.
Oh my God!
I love it.
Oh my God! Anyway, doesn't matter. Look, the bottom line is like I watched a news program on Monday, and they said that Jungle Cruise was a success because it made $30 million. Yada yada this, yada yada that. Then I watched all the ancillary markets, aftermarket stuff, the vloggers and the whatever, and everybody came out to say that it didn't quite do as good as it should have done. Did good for pandemic. I guess it did good for Disney Plus, but didn't do as good as it could have done. Blah blah blah. Okay, here's the thing. Everything is bad. People, regardless of what anybody's telling you about any of this stuff, people are weary of getting sick and whatever.
Sure.
They're not going to the movies. They're not running out to the movies. They're not running out to be social. Every now and then we get this whole the big C. We things drop off for a bit. We start to think that we're going to be able to come out of our holes, and then something big happens. We have to go back in. So now the film studios and the streaming services are in a tug of war about okay, we want to keep things status quo because there's billions and billions of dollars in it. And I understand that. I get it. I love movies. I love movie theaters. I love going to the movies.
Sure.
Not necessarily recently because people are horrible in general, and there's and I heard tell that there are people in movie theaters. So, they're a dangerous species and they're everywhere. That's what's wrong with the human being.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see theaters die off. But what's going to happen is people are going to hold on so tightly to, the people who are pro movies are going to hold on so tightly to the old format, and the people who are now the new format, this new streaming thing, so we can all sit in our living rooms and vegetate and watch movies brand new whenever we want.
Sure.
Which is basically what's been happening last year.
Yeah.
Even though they're not all A-list movies, but we got Tomorrow War. We've got we've got a bunch of Netflix movies that just drop, and then the Netflix documentaries or whatever, and that actually sucks up a lot of the oxygen. That's people are, connecting with that stuff.
Yeah.
They're getting used to that format. So now you're like, okay, things are open up again. You can go outside, go back to the movies. And they're like, people are like, what? I got to schlep all the way, across town to go to a movie theater, sit in a room with a whole bunch of strangers who may or may not be sick and have to deal with people talking behind me or pay overinflated prices for snacks and popcorn or whatever. Not going to work. I say let movies die, not because I want movies to die, but because if we take it to that drastic level, people who are pro movies and people who are pro streaming will find a way to meet in the middle. We have to have some middle ground. I know day and date releases of movies that come out, like say on HBO Max, and also come out in a movie theater. Mm-hmm. I understand that is a loss of money and that people lose money from that the studios are losing money and they don't like that. I understand, just as we were talking about the Scarlett Johansson thing, that actors are being, X'd out of a big, huge bonus paydays, or they're studios are in violation of contracts that are signed. They had to pay Gal Gadot something like $5 million because of the release of the Wonder Woman 1984. And I mean, that's Warner Brothers actually took care of business in that situation. They didn't leave it.
What's funny?
They didn't leave it to chance.
What I've read too is that DC tends to handle this stuff so much better than Marvel. All of this stuff.
Well, they're a mega corporation.
We're talking about Ed Brubaker, kind of lashing out because he created Winter Soldier. And he says, I get more money from my 5-second cameo in Winter Soldier than I've gotten for actually creating the character. But meanwhile, Jim Starlin has said DC takes care of all of their talent. They do thank you money. And he was even saying, he says, I get more money for creating some obscure character that appeared in, I think, one of the Christopher Nolan trilogies than I get for creating Thanos. And it took him complaining, just like it's taking, Scarlett Johansson, to raise a lawsuit to see what they can do. It's funny because of how poorly.
Yeah, it's slightly off topic, but
it is slightly off topic. I know, I agree, but it's just funny because how poorly run DC has been from the creative side. The business side, they seem to get it.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that we really have to find a solution to it, and I think there is a solution to be made. It needs to be hammered out. A lot of money needs to be lost. A lot of people have to suck it up. But, I mean, this is a brand new format. I don't think anyone's going to let go of it. They're talking about Shang-Chi and some of these other movies being absolutely theatrical releases, right? Mm-hmm. But now in lieu of Jungle Cruise and in lieu of Black Widow or whatever, and in lieu of Delta, unfortunately,
yeah, sure,
they're going to have to start rethinking that. Is that a smart thing to do? Is it smart to be austere and rigid and say this can only be done in this manner because you're going to lose? Now there can be a compromise made, whereas we will release this movie 30 days after. We'll give it 30 days in the theater.
I would even say 2 weeks. I would give it 2 weeks.
I'd say 30 days, and then release it for the $30 price tag.
Right.
When you release it, so that people are like, I'm not paying $30 for this. I'm going to go pay $15. I'm finally going to get off my butt and go to, go across town, take the bus across town and watch it in the movie theater. And that's incentive. Okay, you pay for the convenience of being able to sit in your own home and watch it, but you're going to pay double, right? So that's how the movies get their money back.
Yeah.
But if you are shrewd enough and don't want to pay double, that's how the theaters get their money, because they're forcing you to. We're not going to not consume content.
Right.
We're not going to do that. No one's going to boycott movies or streaming services fully. We'll boycott a movie. We'll boycott a streaming service. We're not going to give up all of that stuff. So however you finagle the books so that we actually end up paying money to see your entertainment, mm-hmm. we will be there. The audience will be there for it. They have to they have to let go of tradition, mm-hmm. come to some kind of agreement, or come to some kind of amiable solution, and let us have a hybrid of it. That way theaters don't die. That way streaming services flourish, but don't corner the market.
I think it's going to come down to the streaming services, though, right? I think because look at what the Olympics are with Peacock Network right now. Peacock is the only place you can watch the most, the majority of the Olympics is on their streaming service. And they're doing that intentionally to build up viewers, which is actually pissing off, again, people. It's like, I just want to watch the swimming. I want to watch basketball.
Yeah, they know that. Peacock is free, though.
What's that?
Peacock is free, though.
No.
Yeah, isn't it free? I can get Peacock for free.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's some sort of introductory offer, yeah. But it's
I don't think you pay for Peacock.
You do, yeah, no, yeah. It's going to be there's probably different versions and different tiers, but I don't. It's not a free thing to get. It's the NBC's version of their streaming service. Paramount Plus is another one. Paramount Plus is another one where again, Discovery Plus is $4.99 a month. You know, there's all of these. Ultimately, you're going to pay for these apps.
There's a premium version of Peacock, but the initial for if you don't want to watch commercials and stuff like that,
right? There's commercials.
If you don't mind
Peacock,
watching commercials and stuff, then you can get it for free.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but again, it's making you it's taking it away from traditional TV and making you use these apps and use these streaming services. But that's what these streaming services are doing. They're going to dangle. I mean, that's what HBO Max did. They were basically struggling to get viewers or struggling to get subscribers and said, okay, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna dangle this carrot so you can get it. Disney, meanwhile, was saying with Black Widow, it wasn't a carrot because Disney Plus was succeeding in the subscriber department. They were basically saying we're gonna not make as much money, so we need to do this premium thing as well too. And with a Marvel movie, we can get away with it. Mulan, they couldn't get away with it. They tried doing it with Mulan, and that failed miserably.
They did it with Cruella also. It
Yeah,
didn't work that great. I mean, if they've been doing it, that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't. Not one or the other is not a solution. You need the hybrid.
Yeah.
Right.
I would give it a 2-week window
because it's. Oh, yeah, that's your choice. But this is not your segment. The having things solely come out in movies, solely theatrical release is not working. Not now. Not in the now times. Having stuff solely come out in streamings like Tomorrow War, we are not prepared mentally to consider that an A-list experience.
Yeah, doesn't it lessen the experience? I think it does.
It lessens the experience because you're thinking with the old model.
Yeah.
You know, you have to readjust your perspective. You readjust your point of view to be able to accept it. That's another reason. Let the nostalgia of those movies die. You know, we don't have to lose movie theaters. You know, we don't have to lose that outward experience. We still go to plays, we still go to shows, you know?
Right.
It doesn't have to be anything less than that. And doesn't have to diminish it. That doesn't have to be any shame involved in that. But a hybrid would probably solve the content problem that we're having. Would solve all they have to do is find out exactly how the revenue works. And you know the revenue is bent anyway. You know, way too much money is going in way too the wrong direction in many of these situations. So there is going to be a lot of people who would be billionaires who are going to have to settle for being millionaires for a little longer. But ultimately, we could save both of these modes of entertainment if they hybrid and work together. And also, we let go of our preconceived notions of what it means to have a movie come straight to my television, as opposed to me having to leave my house to go see it.
I got to tell you, the one factor you're not necessarily addressing is I friggin' love getting out of my house now. I can't wait to get out of the house now. It's interesting in the sense that COVID has kept us home, and the streaming services, you know, have had to adapt to us being at home, and so they're delivering this content, and they're saying, hey, maybe there's a future here. But before the Delta variant kind of came around, dude, I'm telling you, people were thrilled to get out of their house and go see a movie and have the experience. Now, the other opposite of things, for families,
they were thrilled for a couple of weeks. But
yes,
that's not a window enough to put all.
Well, but it's not a window either way, right? We don't know. Theoretically speaking, as if you look at the history of all pandemics, they do eventually, you know, subside.
I'm not arguing about the pandemic. I don't want to.
I know. But I'm saying so that eventually there will be a return to normalcy. And what you're saying is what that normalcy looks like.
I'm saying there won't be. Not for this. Not for movies. I think we've gone.
That's exactly. But what is the new normalcy when this all subsides? Because we happen to be at, like, if this pandemic had happened 20 years ago, there was no streaming services. There was no alternative. Maybe there would be. Maybe somebody, you know, maybe that would have hastened the you know, high-speed internet that we now enjoy as a luxury now. We don't know, but you're saying there's going to be a new normal. That new normal is going to be some sort of hybrid.
Okay.
Right?
There wasn't internet 20 years ago. You know, there were no streaming services, but there was internet 20 years ago.
I know, but you never know. I mean, you don't know how these businesses would have adapted, but
look,
now
I'm saying that I am basically saying the door is open.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think we're going to go back to primarily seeing movies in the theater.
Did you watch Jungle Cruise by chance, or was it any good? I didn't watch it.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I know. I'm just curious.
You're changing the subject. I'm just basically saying we're not going to be able to go back. It's imperative that we go forward, and in order to save some of these, theoretically passe or jeopardized modes of receiving entertainment, we have to come up with a hybrid that will allow us to save them.
We don't have to do anything. We just have to sit back and watch some movies. They'll come to us. That was Hassan Godwin's Rogue Rage. That's our show for tonight. What do you guys think? I thought it was exciting. I'm excited.
Excited a lot.
It's my Tim Tebow word of the day.
Get a new adjective. Yeah, you're getting a $10 from the excited.com.
if I could somehow capitalize on my use of the word excited, I would be really excited. All right, that is our show for tonight. Next week, Suicide Squad. I will watch that on HBO Max. Not gonna lie, that one I'm hearing good things about it though. I'm through the grapevine. People are saying it's totally good, so I'm excited to finally watch it. See, I'm excited again. Now I can't stop saying it. See what you've done?
I've stopped listening to you. I have no idea what you're talking about.
We will dive headfirst into Suicide Squad. We will also just do a whole bunch of stuff because I'm sure news will happen between then and now. This has been the Rogue Wave Podcast. We will see you guys next week. Rogue Wave.